Hey guys, welcome back. Glenn with Old School Millennial. Today I'm in my wood yard. I'm going to be discussing a question that comes up pretty often, and that is, what are the difference between a green chain and a yellow chain, and what does that look like in terms of performance? So first I'm going to be testing these chains out just to see how their performance is in the wood that I'm working with right now. And then I'll be discussing kind of the differences between the green and the yellow chain and when it makes sense to use which one. The main difference between these two chains is the yellow is a full chisel chain. The green is a semi-chisel. This green is also what's referred to as a anti-kickback safety chain as well. So what are some of the differences between the yellow and the green chain? So first off, the yellow chain being full chisel, that's referring to the angles that are cut on the tooth of the chain. Basically what it means on the full chisel, it has a more aggressive profile, which causes it to cut very effectively. And some of the differences between that and say a green chain, the green chain being semi-chisel has more of a rounded tooth. So to give you all an example, what that just means is when you're sharpening a knife and you sharpen it at a very aggressive angle, yes, that knife is going to be extremely sharp and it's going to cut whatever you put it into. Now, it's also going to dull a lot faster than something that you may just change that angle up just a little bit. So the advantage to the semi-chisel is it tends to keep its edge longer. And when it really comes into play is when you're running a yellow chain or a green chain in like dirty or muddy wood, or if you accidentally hit your bar into the ground, or if you're running in hardwoods, you notice it a lot. A semi-chisel tends to run a little bit smoother, whereas if you're running a full chisel in hardwood, it tends to kind of buck up and chatter a little bit, which is just, you know, hardwood, but an aggressive angle chain, like trying to cut into that harder wood. So it still goes really fast, but it also dulls faster. So it's kind of, what are you looking for in the long run? Do you want absolutely cutting as fast as you can all the time? Then yeah, you're probably looking at a yellow chain. But that being said, if you don't like to sharpen as often, you may want to look at a semi-chisel or a green chain. Also with that, like, it really kind of depends to what scenario you're going to cut in, where it really, you look at the advantages. Like a yellow chain is great for when you're going out into the woods and you're cutting green wood and it's not on the ground, you're felling a tree or something like that, and it's just like you're cutting it for the first time, and it hasn't been hauled out of the woods or anything like that. You're just cutting it right where it falls. In that scenario, a yellow chain might be your best bet. Whereas like a green chain, if you've fallen a tree and you dragged it out of the woods and it's got mud all over it, if you use a yellow chain, it's going to dull pretty quick. Whereas like with the green chain, it's going to keep its edge longer. So I'm going to be testing these to show the difference in speed between the yellow and the green. But I also just wanted to discuss this where y'all understand what scenarios it makes more sense to use which one. So these are the two chains I'm going to be using. This is the number on the full chisel chain. It's the 26 RS, and I'm using an 18-inch bar. The gauge on it is 63 gauge, and it's 325 pitch. So same pitch on the green chain. This is a 26 RM3 that I'm using. This is also 63 gauge, and it's a 325 pitch. Yeah, so I'm going to be both running them on the same bar, and let's test these things out, see which one's faster. I'm assuming we can already guess which one's faster, but let's test this out and see what the difference is. Well guys, as you saw, the yellow chain is faster. Just by running the saws, it's kind of hard to determine which one's faster. Both of them are pretty close. I will say obviously the full chisel is going to be more aggressive. So one thing to mention, you guys, that is going to vary test by test is what wood are you running that in? And so this test is running at an elm, which for me kind of reacts close to oak. Just remember some of those things that I mentioned in terms of how often you need to sharpen and what kind of woods you're running it in. Just be thinking about those things as you're running these different chains, and that will help you make a decision on which chain to run and in what scenario. If you guys are running these type of chains, the yellow versus the green, let me know down in the comments what you run and what wood you're running it in and why. I'd just be interested to hear different people's feedback on what they use. If this is your first time to my channel is about getting outdoors and working with tools and equipment, and that's chainsaws, tractors, mowers. If you like videos like that, don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, you guys, get outside and do something you love.